Welcome back, Marvel Heroclix fans. Today I'm going to cover Chaos Wars and sealed pulls. And at number 16, right outside of the top 15, we have Thor. Now there's a lot of things about this figure that I like, but there's one glaring thing that I just can't buy on this figure. He does not have Indom, so you're gonna have to push if you want to continue the fight. He can only attack once, then he'll have to clear. And at 200 points, you kind of expect to be able to push without taking clicks of damage. Flight with 11 attack, 11 movement with charge, 18, 4 damage, and impervious. And he even gets hypersonic, later in his dial. So at 200 points, he is a real monster. But the major thing is not having Indom so that he can push without taking damage is huge. So, it's a good figure, but there's better options, I think. This might be the best ground and pound figure. And he even has range. It's a good figure, but I think if you pair him up with some other figures like a Sharon Carter to give him stealth, that could be deadly. And that's what I'm saying. This figure has a lot of potential. Taskmaster has a really awesome power that steals powers, and that is really, really powerful. But the problem with him is he drops off pretty quick. And once he drops off, he's not nearly the figure that you would want. But he can take on quite a bit, and I believe he starts off with stealth as well. So that's a really good figure starting at 15, Taskmaster. And at 14, we have Crystal. This figure is extremely good, and I was not that excited to pull her. Yes, I do like Inhumans, and I like Crystal, but it was kind of like, man, I would have rather pulled another, another better figure or whatever, just another figure. But after going through her powers, this is a really good figure. And her trait, you give her a power action and you can choose an unoccupied square of clear terrain within range and line of fire. Crystal can use Quake as a free action as if she occupied that square. This is really good. So you can just Quake next to someone if they're in stealth. Boom, that's 2 damage right there. She also has another power structure throughout her dial, which I'm not going to go through, but there's a bunch of different special powers. She can use it. There's a movement one where she can use the tornado and deals 1 penetrating damage. So you can get through those damage reducers, because Quake does not get through damage reducers because Quake only does 2 damage. And she starts off with Run and Shot and Psychic Blast and Barrier with an 18. This is a very strong top dial here. Her defense is weak for damage reductions, but an 18 is not bad at all. And if you put her in hindered terrain, that'll be a 19. She is not a flyer, but you have to look at this. You're paying for this 105 points. That's basically where you have to stop. That is a really, really good piece. And at number 13, we have Mr. Sinister. I know a bunch of you want me to do a review on this figure, and I think I probably will. I have yet to play him. I actually have yet to play any of these figures, but reading the forums and going through the dials, I have a pretty good experience of what these figures can do. This figure now at 13 is a very tough figure, and it could definitely be lower on this list. I think this is going to be one of those figures that people are going to play, and they're going to do good with them, but unless they're really experienced on how to use this figure and this dial and this power structure, it's not going to win you the tournament. This figure could win tournaments, and it'll all depend on what figures other people pull. But here's the cool things that he has. He has 8 range, stealth, he has Psychic Blast with 11, he's got Impervious, and he's got a special damage for Perplex. 225 points. So he's kind of expensive, and you're only going to have like 75 points to pair him up with, and that's going to be the huge issue that you're going to have with this guy, and he doesn't have move and attack. I think Mr. Sinister in Constructed is going to be a much better play than in Sealed, but he's got the stealth, Psychic Blast, 8 range, Impervious, Perplex, and the shape change. Those are going to be hard to deal with, and there's not a lot of stealth busters at all in this set, so they're going to come to you, and then you have a good chance. So, I mean, it's going to be tough, but there's going to be hypersonic characters and some of these chase figures that are going to give this character some issues. Genis-Vell, I think that's how you say it. This is actually a really good figure. It's Power Cosmic, 200 points, and some of the things that you can do with this are Run and Shot, Pulse Wave, Impervious, 17 for damage, 8 range, flyer, 2 targets. I know that was a lot to take in, but run and shot pulse wave is going to be huge. With 11 attack and 4 damage, you can do a lot of stuff with this. And he's power cosmic, so you can push him. He's got this special damage thing that he does not, special power. He doesn't start off with it, but it's a touch of insanity. It's perplex. When he does use this, he gets +2 or -2 and roll a d6 that can't be rerolled. Based on the result, modify the target character by the chosen amount. So if you roll a 1, you can only target speed, 2 attack, 3 defense, 4 damage, 5 range, and 6 all combat values. So that is something to look forward to, but it's kind of like what it says. It's kind of an insanity thing. So you can't count on what you're going to be able to perplex, but it's nice to have. At number 11, we have Morgan Le Fay. I wanted to show you everything of her, but she's so huge, I just figured you would want to see the sculpt. This figure is extremely good. I actually had her probably at number 7 or 8. Then I realized in sealed, she's not going to be as effective because of her major power, which is the +2 or -2 to Avengers. But the key thing is it only affects Avengers keyword. She does not have the Avenger keyword. She can be on an Avengers theme team and still be themed, but she does not have the keyword for Avengers. So, say if you play her by herself, she will not be able to use that perplex because she doesn't actually have Avengers keyword. But now if you play her with another Avengers figure, which is preferable, then you can perplex them by +2 or -2, probably not your own character, but -2 on another Avenger keyword figure, then she has some staying power. Now you can use her alone and not have Avenger on your team, but play against someone that's Avengers and -2 their attack or whatever, but you can't do damage, which is fine. She has 122 points, and that is really good for what she brings. Phase in, 7 range, shape change, 4 damage, 10 attack with Psychic Blast, and 17. And you're like, 17, that's not that great. You're right, but it's a special power. Let's read this. She has toughness. Okay, so you had a little bit of damage reducers. At the beginning of your turn, choose combat reflexes or energy shield deflection. Morgan can use the chosen power until your next turn. That is really good. So you have to kind of judge what your opponent's going to do. If they're at range, then give energy shield deflection. Then she's a 19. 20 if you're in hindering. And if you know you're going to have to battle close combat, give her combat reflexes. You cannot discount the Doom TA, which gives her wild card. So you can pair her up with a number of figures in sealed and give her a pretty good team ability. At number 10, we have Hawkeye. This is probably the best rare in this set. I do have another figure ranked lower, but for the points, this is a really, really good figure. In sealed, I think Ares and maybe Sentry is probably going to do a little bit better just because of their powers and stuff like that. But for constructed, this figure will end up being the better figure. He has one problem that is the reason why he's at 10 and not lower. Is his defense is a 17, so once people get up to him, he's probably gonna go down pretty quick. He doesn't have a long dial. The thing that I really like about him is he's 98 points. He's got Spider-Man TA, so he has wild card. He's a sharpshooter, 9 range, and 3 targets. This guy is gonna be a monster. He's got run and shot and stealth, 12 attack, and 3 damage leadership. So there's a lot of great things that this guy brings to the table. And for 98 points, it's 1/3 of your team. If you pull this figure, unless you pull like Chase figure that's 300 points, Kang Doom or Sentry Void, I would consider pairing him up with some other figures because this guy is going to be really good. And at number 9, we have Kang. He has monster attack and damage abilities, stats. But the overall thing that I think that's going to cause him issues is his low defense. I like that he has that trait where he has probability when he makes an attack. Now, depending on what kind of defense powers you have, super senses, impervious, it may or may not go through. I know he does have some Psychic Blast and stuff like that, but figure is overall monster when it comes to attack and damage. And at number 8, we have Sentry. Now this guy comes in at 299, so he's going to be a one-man force, and I think he can bring the pain with his hypersonic Indom and 4 damage, 12 attack, perplex. You see a major glaring issue here. It's a 17 invulnerability. So he's not paired up with impervious. He does have Indom, and his trait is so that he can flip into the void. Now, if you happen to pull the void with him as well, then I don't even know where to start. That would be probably one of the best combination pulls you can do. And I think you would probably want to start off with the void anyways. Maybe start off with Sentry and then switch over to void, but we won't go into that too much detail because that's asking a lot. This is a really straight up monster. He alternates hypersonic with charge, so you know there's different power structures there. He has 0 range, but that 12 movement's going to help him get into the battle. He's going to probably stay close by, or you know, try to pop shot and then zip around a corner. When he does have charge, he has super strength and exploit weakness and impervious. So almost these charge clicks are kind of better and they dish out more damage, but you know, he can't get away without the hypersonic. So at 299, this figure is going to cause a lot of problems, and he's only a rare, so you're going to have to fight him. Someone will pull Sentry, and it's up to someone to play him. You know, depends on what they pull. They may not play him, but I think, you know, you can get a lot worse, and this is a pretty good one-man army. And at number 7, we have Ares. Now you're saying, well, why did you pick Ares over Sentry? The reason why I picked Ares over Sentry, Ares is only 199 points, and he has a lot of the same characteristics that Sentry has. And I think going heads up, Ares could potentially beat Sentry. If he cannot beat Sentry, he surely can probably beat him with 100 more points full of support. Say if you're lucky to pull Ares and Hawkeye, that's a really nasty combination, and that's about your 300 point team. Now the thing that Ares brings to the table is a crazy good dial. He kind of has a low defense for a 199 point figure, but it's actually not that bad. It's a bunch of 17s and 18s. 17 in this set is going to get hit all day, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's not a bad defense from some of the figures that you're going to need to beat that are probably going to just wipe figures out. 17 is probably not going to cut it. 18, you might have a chance, but 17 is not really going to work. He does have a trait, adjacent friendly characters modify their attack by 1 and opposing -1 for their attack. He's got Indom, and he has a special for damage that needs to be brought to the table here. It starts on his second click. Ares can use Close Combat Expert and Ranged Combat Expert. Whenever he uses one of these powers, opposing characters cannot use that same power until your next turn. This power cannot be countered by characters of 100 points or less. That is huge because that just makes his damage potential that much more better. And he has Run and Shot. At this click he has Charge, so you really won't be able to use Charge with like Close Combat Expert, but you can charge blades, and then next turn you can push and use Close Combat Expert. That's disgusting. I like this figure, and there's a couple things here that he could be better. I don't necessarily think he should have them, but if he was a flyer, that would make him better. And at number 6, we have the Chaos King. Now this figure played at its full points is 350 points. And he's nasty. He starts off with Run and Shot, Pulse Wave, Impervious, Probability. But that's not what you're going to be able to play him at unless you play, you know, higher than 300 points sealed. Let's go to his starting click at 300 points. You have Run and Shot, 10 attack, Invulnerability, 4 damage, Probability. That's good, but not great. That attack is not that good for a 300 point figure. What really gets him to being really good is when you push him, or when he takes a couple clicks, then you get these hypersonic clicks. Now we're talking about a monster here. Look at this click right here. impervious, hypersonic, 12 attack, outwit. Then we have, you know, some more of those powers. So you see this, he is really strong mid-dial, but at first he's kind of weak. And some could say he probably should be lower or higher, because when he gets to a sweet spot, he's going to be extremely hard to kill. No doubt about it. It's just, will he be able to land on the sweet spot? A lot of these figures that we are talking about, they can hit him, and guess where he's going to be? On his sweet spot. Now, if you know, do your damage precisely and use, you know, Psychic Blast, you can blow right through it, and then this figure is going to be easy to kill. But I mean, if you pull this figure and you don't have any of these other figures, I definitely say you can't go wrong, and just be smart. The mid-dial hypersonic, game over for most figures. Most figures that you go against, if you get on those clicks, it's over. Chaos King is going to win. There's only a couple other figures that are going to beat him all day. And we're going to talk about them right now. And at number 5, one of those figures is the Avengers Prime. I did not pull the Avengers Prime, but all I really need to talk about with that figure is the 3 tack power that you have. It's very deadly, and you can literally just kill a team with that power. I know at 300 points it's not nearly as strong as it is at 400 points, but if you pull the Avengers Prime, I think you're probably going to want to play that, unless you can pull a better well-rounded team. But it's going to be a chase figure, so it's going to be very hard to pull. Depending on how many people play, you may only see 2, 3, 1 chase figure. I mean, depending on how many bricks are open for your sealed event, that's basically how many chase figures. And then they might not even pull the most broken chase figure. Avengers Prime is probably the top 3 at 300 points. And at number 4 is the Void, which is the alter ego for Sentry. Now that figure is pretty nasty. It's stealth with 9 range, and it is power cosmic. It does lack defense, but the amount of regeneration, steal energy, and how much of a nasty close combat figure that figure is going to help, because with stealth, you're probably going to have to come up to that figure, and it's just going to be brutal to deal with the Void. Very hard to kill, but lacks move and attack. Like Mr. Sinister, he lacks move and attack. But I think the Void brings a little bit more of nasty at close combat. And he still has range too. Void has 9 range. And at number 3, we have the Unspoken. Now this figure, I only knew about this figure a couple days before the set released. I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, but whatever. Looking at the dial and some of the special powers he has just makes me think this guy is going to be very, very good. And you can't discount that he is only 236 points. So you have, you know, a little bit of points. You about like 64 points to put on your team. Now, you could possibly get one of the cheap flyers like Dinosaur to carry him in. That would be brutal. But depending on what support you can pull with him, I think this figure is going to just dominate everything besides the last 2 chase figures. What he brings is a shutdown figure. This figure just shuts down other figures in close combat if you get into his range. He has leadership and stealth if he's on the lowest elevation of the map, which shouldn't be that hard. And he has this slave engine degeneration, opposing characters, and he starts off with this for like the first couple clicks here. I think maybe like the first 4 or 5 clicks. Opposing characters within 3 range possess battle fury and can't be given power action. So you have to consider that. This Unspoken is gonna be disgusting because you can't be given power actions if you're within 3 and they have Battle Fury, which means you can't make a ranged attack. If they're within 3 squares and they want to make a ranged attack on you, oh no, wait, you have Battle Fury. You can't make a ranged attack. Oh, that's great. So they can't do that. Oh, but say if they have charge. Well, I'll just charge on you. Wait, no, you can't charge because that's a power action. Very nasty. So they'll have to waste an action to get up to him. And that's not even talking about his raw stats. Pick up a heavy object, so now you're going to be doing 7 damage. He's got 5 damage already, impervious 18, 9 movement for charge. Throughout the whole dial here, it's just pretty good. It's got Force Blast here, so you can knock people away, hopefully get them within that 3 range so they can't do anything. You do not have range, but, you know, there's some give and take there. Number 2 is Kang and Doom. This is just a great power set. I just can't tell you how good this figure is. Stealth is going to hurt this figure quite a bit, but you know, the Doom and Kang figure is just incredible. I can't even talk too much about it, but if you pull that figure at 300 points, it's going to bring the pain, and I think it's probably going to win all the matches besides playing Sentry Void, which is the #1 figure. This figure is nearly broken. I've heard podcasts, forums, everything you can read up and down the Sentry Void figure, duo, chase figure, is very good. Now, it's nearly broken, if not broken, but there are things you can beat them. But in sealed, the Sentry Void, unless they roll crit misses and you get extremely lucky or the player does not play that figure properly, it's going to win. It's probably going to almost be impossible to beat. It has multi-attack, so it can move its movement and then attack. I mean, just this, oh man, I can't even explain how nasty the Sentry Void. I do not have that figure. I do not want that figure. If I have them, I pull them. I'm probably going to keep it. I don't see myself playing that figure. It's not anything that it's not the playstyle that I like. Gen Con, I think it could definitely win some games there, but in Constructed, people will be able to build teams to face that figure. It's going to change the game. And it's 300 points, so it's in like the smallest size game you can build, a 300-point team. But the good thing is, probably won't show up. More of your sealed events are going to have people not pulling these figures than pulling them. All the other super rares, people will pull. Will they play them? Maybe not. Super rares, all the super rares will be pulled. All the rares will be pulled. Will they be played? Maybe, maybe not. But the chase figures, it's a hit or miss. There will be chase figures pulled, but which ones will be pulled? Who knows?